There are several things I would do differently now if I were just starting my fitness journey today as opposed to 10 years ago whenever I actually started. And I want to take a minute and talk about them because I know that we are still in January and the new year is often a time when people jump on new resolutions to create healthier habits in the new year. And if that is you, or if you are someone who has created healthy habits before, but you are like off the wagon and you're looking to get back on, or even if you've just never learned these things before or heard them, I just wanted to go over them because these are some of the things that, knowing what I know now, I wish I would have done it differently. And so I want to share them in case my frustration and time that it took for me to actually start to figure out what's effective can help you not be frustrated and get to the results that you want to see that much quicker, then high five to me. So, with that being said, I'm going to approach this by sharing a bit about what I did do and then talking about why that didn't work and what I would do now. And we're just going to go through each of these things in order. I have a few things that I would for sure do differently. And I want to preface by saying I never played sports growing up. I don't play sports now. I'm not very coordinated. If you were to toss a magic marker or something at me, I would like swat it away like some like uncoordinated cat. Well, actually, cats are probably more coordinated, but anyway, that's a sidebar. So just saying that to let you know that my fitness background, while yes, I've been working out for a while now, like no type of athletic abilities whatsoever. And also, my parents didn't play sports. No one in my family played sports. So it wasn't something that so moving and being athletic wasn't something that I ever really thought about, knew anything about. My mom would walk some mornings with a group of her friends, but that's like the extent of it. So whenever it came time for me to start to realize, oh, well, maybe, I should try this whole health and fitness thing out, then my only options for what to do were magazine workouts and those VHS workout tapes. And for the magazine workouts, the reason that that didn't work for me, so it was Out of Shape magazine, 17 magazine when I was younger, Oxygen, like you remember those magazines? And I would do them, and I mean, it's not fun. It's not fun to like read a magazine, not know if you're performing the movement correctly, maybe not even have the mind muscle connections. So that if you are performing the movement correctly, you don't know that the right muscles are activating. You aren't doing a workout that is specific for you and your goals. You don't know if you're going full range of motion or if you're even doing it properly. And so, magazine workouts are, unless you are someone who is intermediate advanced worker outer, wouldn't recommend. The VHS tapes consisted of like step aerobics and Tybo and those kinds of things. And again, those just aren't custom to what it is that your goals are. And it's not something where someone can tell you, hey, like you're doing this right, give you a cue that might help you feel that muscle that you're trying to work better. And well, I think that's like a step up from magazine workouts because you can like kind of see them actually doing it in action instead of looking at photos, and you can feel their energy and get to experience it in that way. It's still not something that I would recommend for someone if you were just starting your fitness journey. On to what else I did whenever I first started fitness, and that was I tried out some classes. Now, the classes that were available when I first started working out that I was aware of were classes like Zumba and again, like dance aerobics and things like that. And your woman is not coordinated. Like I said, I would be like in the class and all of a sudden I would be like facing the class and I'm like, okay, 20 some people probably didn't mess that up. Like I'm the one that probably effed up that. So apparently I don't know my left and my right. And so Dance classes for me were just not it. If dance classes and those aerobics classes were the only way to get fit, I would not be fit. And so that's another thing that did not work for me. However, I do feel that is a step up from magazine workouts and the VHS tape workouts because you do have an actual instructor there that can correct you to the best of their abilities depending on the class size. So that's basically what I did whenever I was starting fitness. And it wasn't fun. I didn't see the results. And as a result of that, I just stopped doing it. And so it wasn't until years later that I discovered the movement that works for me, that I had fun with. That movement, if you're curious, was CrossFit. And my perspective then shifted from trying to make my body look a certain way into getting really curious about what my body could do. And that really transformed not only my perception of myself and my relationship with myself, but my mental health, my whole effing life, because I then went on to become a CrossFit coach. And that is what I did for years, full time. By years, I mean like 7 until the dumpster fire of 2020 when everything happened with the CEO and all that came out. But that's a story for another day. So I share that because that was really when I feel that my fitness started to make sense and I started to see results. And I'm not saying that CrossFit is for everyone because it 1000% is not. I always say that the magic pill is the one that you are going to take consistently. And I'm a believer of that. Obviously, there are certain things that you can do in order to get to your goal. For example, if you want to get really toned, running isn't going to help you do that. But running is a great way to support your cardiovascular health, which supports a well-rounded fitness if you also are strength training, because we need both. We need cardio and we need strength training. So I'm going to get into the things that I would do now because I am already starting to. So the first thing that I would do, knowing what I know now, sidebar main bar, I did not do this, but I wish that I would have, is I would go to my general practitioner and I would get a checkup. I would do this number one to get cleared, just, hey, yes, you are healthy for physical activity. And I would number two do this because I would then have a baseline of metrics for certain health markers. So like your blood work, your just general weight, blood pressure, those kinds of things. So that way, whenever you go for future checkups, you can see if there have been any changes, and if so, what those changes are, and if those changes might in fact be due to the fact that you have been more physically active. So that is number one, what I would for sure do. The second thing that I would do is try out different workouts. There are so many different ways to move your body now, and they can be so fun. And also, there can be some that are not so fun. What I'm going to say is that the magic pill that you're looking for is whichever one you are going to take on a consistent basis. And I don't mean specifically pills, I mean pills as a metaphor in this instance, pills being a metaphor for your type of movement, your preferred type of fitness. So try out a bunch of different workouts and see what it is that you enjoy. Try running, try weightlifting, try different classes, try Orange Theory, try F45, try whatever it is that you've been like, that looks kind of fun. Go out and try it and see what you like and see what you don't like. And I will also say that among these different gyms, despite them even being the same type of fitness, let's say, they are totally different vibes, totally different communities. A CrossFit in one part of town is going to have a completely different vibe than a CrossFit in another part of town. So if you try out one and you're like, oh, I really like the movement, but I don't really like the vibes here, so to speak, then try out that if you have the ability. Try out that same type of exercise, but at a different location. And that's an ever evolving process. You're always going to be trying out different workouts, and I'm still trying out different workouts because this is what keeps it fun. Whenever things are fun, you're going to want to do it again. This is going to make a positive association with movement in your brain. And so you're going to then therefore be excited about it instead of dreading it. So whenever your family is like, we should run the turkey trot, instead of being like, oh, God, I just don't want to. I don't want to be one of those people. you're going to be like, yeah, that sounds like fun. I've been working out for a while now and I can probably do that no problem. And I'm excited to see. I'm excited to get curious and see how well I do when we do this. And it's going to be so fun and we're going to make memories and it's just going to be fabulous. I will say, whenever you know what types of workouts you like and you don't like, then comes the time to consider your specific goals and whether or not that type of movement is going to actually help you get there. Here's what I mean. If you want a lean and toned physique and you love running, then great. Running is going to help you with that lean part. However, in order to get that tone aspect, you need to incorporate strength training of some kind. This can look like bodybuilding. This can look like weightlifting. This can look like what they call like Globo gym workouts. This can look like general strength training to get strong AF. This can look like different things, again, depending on your goals, why you want to do it. Someone who wants to look lean and toned for aesthetic reasons, going to have a little bit of a different type of workout program than someone who wants to just get strong AF. So think about if your movement of choice is going to be able to help you get to those goals. Now, this doesn't mean you have to give up your movement of choice at all. Usually, you're going to be able to do both because we need the running for cardiovascular health, very important. And we need the weight training for prevention of osteoporosis, strong bones, strong joints, and safeguarding your quality of life. Oh, yeah, and also getting that lean and tone look that you want. This next thing that I'm going to share is going to be the least expensive thing that is going to give you the biggest return on your efforts invested to get this in check, and that is your sleep. There have been tons of studies that talk about the benefits of sleep, and this is the one thing that so many people who do research on sleep and other things that actually support health say to get right. They say to focus on your sleep. Your brain does so much at night to reset, and this supports not only your cognitive function, but also your emotional health. This supports your physical health and your performance. This supports your body repairing whenever you are working out from all of the stress that you have inflicted upon it. Sleep is a game changer. And so, whenever I say get it in check, I mean get your whole sleep hygiene in check to the best of your abilities. Personally, full transparency, this is something that I'm still working on. I've gotten a lot better at it, but it's still a work in progress and it will probably always be just because life is always changing. There are different stressors that are going to come up. They're going to keep you awake at night thinking about them. There are going to be parties and events and reasons that you just don't get in bed at the time that you would like or want or need to. So this is going to be something that's probably always an ongoing adjustment, and that's okay. If you are like, what do you mean by get your sleep in check? I mean, not only the duration, but also the quality of it and establishing some type of a consistent routine so that you can sync your circadian rhythm. That's your sleep and your wake cycle. And the best advice that I have for you, if you were like, where do I start with that? Is to get your sleep and wake times within the same hour. Here's what I mean. Try to go to bed within the 9 p.m. hour, for example, 10 p.m. hour, whatever, and then try to wake up within, like, let's say the 6 a.m. hour. That way you are at least starting to get in a routine so that it's not like, oh, well, I went to bed at 11:30 today. I went to bed at 10 o'clock last night. I went to bed at, you know, midnight probably tomorrow, like whatever the case may be. This way you're establishing some type of consistency. The closer to the same time you can be, the better, but that's where I would start, and that's the best advice that I have if you were trying to figure out, well, like, what does that even mean? So just start to establish a consistent sleep and wake time. We all know that this next thing is important, and we also all know that we could probably be a bit better at it. Raising my hand over here, self included, and that is getting our nutrition in check. We could do a whole conversation on, I have lots of conversations about it, but this is probably the hardest part for most people because once you have your movement of choice, the fitness is fun, right? You get to go, you get to work out, your friends are there, it's a fun community thing. You feel good after you worked really hard and like you're all sweaty and the endorphins. The fitness is fun. But the food part of it is when most people are like, what do I eat? When do I eat it? How much of it do I eat? And this is a really crucial part of your fitness. And also, of your life and how you feel with your mood, how you feel with your cognitive function, because food is fuel. And this is what is actually helping propel you through life. It's what's giving you the energy. One of the things that I have my clients do is actually reframe the word food and call it fuel. And so that way you can look at it from a different perspective, not as this thing that when you have, you know, a trying relationship with, it has like a negative connotation where there are good foods and bad foods, but instead as fuel. That is what it is. Obviously, there are certain foods that are going to give us more bang for our buck in terms of macronutrients and micronutrients and how it makes us feel personally. And if you are like, yeah, you're right. I need to get my food in check. I need to get my energy in check, my nutrition, whatever term you want to use for it. My best piece of advice on this is to just start tracking what you are eating on a regular basis. I mean, actually weighing and measuring and entering it into an app so that you can get the data and see what your baseline is. I suggest doing this for about a week, or if you are a female, then I suggest going for a full month, because that way you're going to get a more rounded picture. You're going to be able to see any changes that might happen, hormonally due to our cycles. And whenever you have this information, you are then going to be able to look at your baseline for what you're eating and say, oh, wow, this is how many calories I'm eating every day. This is what those calories consist of in terms of carbs, proteins, and fats, as well as micronutrients and fiber and all these different things. You're going to have a lot of great data, and that data is going to give you power. Knowledge is power, to make decisions based on the data that you now know is true about you, not what someone else says like you should eat or you should be eating. What's true about you, so that you can adjust accordingly. Oh, do I need to eat more protein? Spoiler alert, most people do. Do I need to cut back on fat? Do I need to incorporate more vegetables? What is it that I can see from this data, and what changes can I make based on my goals, knowing what I know now? That's my best piece of advice. Moving on. One of the things that I love about fitness is that you are able to physically show yourself, hey, I can do this really hard thing. I can do this thing that I wasn't quite sure I'd be able to do. Like, let's say 100 wall balls or whatever, for example. And when you do that, that is going to tell your brain, oh, hey, yeah, like we can do hard things. That's going to work on your resilience. There have been so many benefits of fitness reported in studies about how positive it is for your cognitive function, for your mental health, for your emotional well being. And so it's so much more than just movement. Whenever you are doing these hard things in the gym, then it is going to support you to do hard things in life. And a really cool thing about fitness is whenever you are working out, what are you doing? You're getting your heart rate up, you're sweating, you're breathing more shallowly because your body's trying to get more oxygen. Those are also the same physiological things that happen when your stress response is activated in an uncontrolled situation. Whenever you are out and about living your life and all of a sudden something happens, your breathing quickens, you start to get sweaty, and your heart rate goes up. And so, whenever you are training these things in a controlled environment, whenever it happens in an uncontrolled environment, your body is less likely to freak out as much, because it's not going to be some foreign thing that never happens. Your body's going to be like, oh, this is happening again. We're used to that. It happens whenever we are working out. So that's a really, really cool part about fitness that I think not enough people talk about. And whenever we are putting ourselves in these controlled, stressful situations, then it really supports us to do the leveraging when it comes to like our mental and emotional work, and unpacking and processing those uncomfortable emotions that are going to probably cause that same stress response or a similar stress response physiologically. For me, CrossFit was what I call my gateway fitness. And so, gateway fitness not only to different types of movement and my fitness era, if you will, but also to doing the hard work and looking internally, going back on some of these experiences of my past and unpacking them and processing them and healing them so that I can then move forward. Because the things that I learned about myself in fitness translated into these other areas. If I can lift this heavy ass weight, then I can talk about this childhood trauma. And I think that that is so important and something that so many people overlook. And so, um, yeah, it can be this really powerful thing if you let it be. This last thing is something that I 1,000,000% wish that I would have done initially when I first started working out. I have done it since and will continue to do it, but had I done it sooner, then I do think that that would have made all of the difference. And that is work with a professional. There are a ton of amazing coaches out there and people who are experts within their own specific niche and category and area of focus. There are also a lot of not so great ones. So make sure that you do your homework, not only to ensure that the person that you work with is educationally equipped, but also that it's a good fit, that like you like them, they like you can be yourself, that you feel and trust that they are the one that is going to be able to help you get to your goals. There are people who offer a comprehensive approach so that they can support with more of a lifestyle approach and helping with behavior change. That's the category I'm in because I am someone who has coached fitness for 10 plus years, has been certified in various certifications, and is currently certified as a women's coaching specialist. And also I am a certified life coach. So I'm going to be able to give you a comprehensive, well-rounded offering. However, if you find that you need something more specific and specialized, like let's say you specifically need help with your sleep or your nutrition or your mindset, then that would be when you enlist the help of a specialist within those areas. Someone who can really work with you and help you in that specific instance. This might look like a therapist, this might look like a registered dietitian. If you have medical needs, this is so nuanced and unique to you and your experience and your needs. Next to sleep, this is the most powerful thing that you can do, where you work with someone to actually support you and hold you accountable and help you understand how to make these things work for you so that you can make this a sustainable part of your life moving forward. If you have any questions about how I can help with your lifestyle, behavioral changes, strength training, then I'll put my information in the description below. You can find me on all the social medias at Hey Jonna, Johnna, Renee, Renee. And if you have any questions about recommendations for specialists that I have mentioned in terms of nutrition and women's health, and also let's say if you would like a pelvic floor specialist or therapist and something like that, then let me know, because I have been building a network of people who I trust that I can recommend to help you reach those goals. That is what I have for you today. I hope this was so super helpful. If it was, please do let me know. And if you would, let me know in the comments or over on social media what it is that you would do differently if you were starting your fitness journey today, so that we can get the list going and help those who are just starting out understand where they too might start. Thank you for listening. I hope you have the best day, and I will see you in the gym.